Welcome to Critical Rocket. You people thought the Locust was badass. Well, wait until you see the Commando. Yeah, don't let its size fool you here. This little thing packs quite a punch. Running off the standard 2D tabletop values, this is packing an SRM4, SRM6, and a medium laser. This also comes with the ECM package as well, so it's going to be dodging them LRMs like nobody's business. And with an SRM10, it's quite a punch. 2 tons of ammo means it's got, about 20 salvos in it, which is a hell of a lot of damage when it all adds up. The Commando is only 5 tons heavier than the Locust, to be completely fair to it. But that 5 ton does allow it to pack that extra firepower and even gives it a little bit more armour. The engine size compared to the Locust is also higher, so the Commando is a bit faster on the field. And obviously the added benefit of the ECM means it's far more desirable for teams in public matches and obviously competitive play to bring this mech along, purely for the fact that it can quickly and nimbly move around the field to assist larger mechs that may be in trouble and need some LRM or anti-LRM cover, basically. It's compared to the Locust cockpit, it's a great field of view. It's quite big. It's slightly off-center, a bit like the Atlas, where you're in the left side of the cockpit, so you do have to account for a slight shift in your fire to the right, I believe. So when you're aiming your SRMs or whatever your weapons may be, you sometimes just want to counter ever so slightly for that, just to make sure you get as many missiles as you can plonking into the CTs or left or right torsos or even legs, depending on your target. This match I tried to make use of the Commando's ECM package by staying close to the bigger mechs and trying to protect them as long as possible, especially on a map like this where LRM fire can become quite deadly and withering at times, especially in the side of the map you start on where the enemy do get the height advantage quite early on. The medium laser might seem a little redundant, but trust me, in protracted fights you're going to want that medium laser, plus the fact that there's no ammo consideration for it does help, and 5 damage is 5 damage, whatever way you look at it. And I tend to prefer loadouts on mechs anyway that are relatively lean, because you make the best of what you've got, rather than having a shit ton of weapons and trying to rely on any one particular weapon in your entire loadout to be the big punch. It's not to say that I won't predominantly fire SRMs at targets, because that's going to do the most damage. But I wouldn't knock the medium laser, but it's not to say you could probably switch it out for a tag if you wanted to be a bit more supportive, trying to get those missile locks for your friendlies, which again makes you doubly useful in the sense that you not only protect friendlies from LRM fire, but you can also tag targets for counter LRM fire. It's quite short, which means the mech is also capable of using terrain much better by being able to hide behind some of the smaller buildings, and its speed also helps obviously in avoiding fire and just nimbly getting behind cover if and when it needs to. Its drawbacks, few and far between, but they do exist. Like any light mech, its legs are going to be a prime target when it's out in the open. The Commando does have a relatively wide torso, so when you're running from a target, it may be best to turn or twist your torso so they're hitting the arms and the side torsos, rather than hitting you straight in the back, because you don't want your rear armor to be opened up, especially if another light decides to attack you, because more often than not, lights will attack other lights from behind rather than head on. The ammunition can be a bit small. Again, you could probably drop something else out of it. Hell, you could probably even drop the ECM just to give yourself an extra ton of ammo and have a bit more room for case or something like that if you wanted to protect yourself from ammo explosions. Again, this is running an XL engine, but running a light with standard is suicidal anyway. I mean, it's already a difficult task in and of itself. But once you get close to these SRMs, now that the coding for them works, really makes little mechs like this quite deadly, and it's not surprising now to see matches where relatively big mechs that have taken a pounding get taken out by a quick mech that just launches a few SRMs into it. Down it goes. You can use the Commando as a striker, being able to quickly dodge back and forth in and out of fire, striking, and then ducking back into cover, getting behind friendlies, and then coming back around for another pass. You can really frustrate large, slow mechs. I mean, even admittedly, some of the larger clan mechs, you can be quite effective at keeping them tied up for a short time until allies get involved. It's not to say you should actively go out of your way to try and find these kind of battles, because the Commando, compared to targets like the General or Raven, are a little less fragile, purely for the fact that it's 25 ton and thus has less armour than the slightly heavier of the light mech varieties. As such, much like the Locust, you won't see as many Commandos on the field. It's a shame, really, because the chassis is quite good. I find that, like the Locust, it's quite manoeuvrable, it turns very quickly. It doesn't have jump jets now, but it really doesn't need them. I mean, when you get this thing up to speed with, especially with speed tweak, you can rocket around the map and not really need jump jets all that much. I find jump jets are good for getting into a firing position, but they're not very good for getting yourself out of a firing position, especially out of a bad position. But here's the striking element here. This Atlas, you can get right in close on and just smash him. Those graphics, just ignore that.
New target acquired.
But yep, there goes that Atlas, took him down. And I've virtually taken no damage in this fight, because if you stick to the strengths of the 2D, which is its ECM coverage, you can keep a team of big heavy hitters under cover until you need them. And yeah, go for those component destructions. This map is called Crimson Strait, for anyone who hasn't yet played the game or has just watched this for the first time. This is a sort of dockside, dockside sort of goods transport map.
New target acquired.
Obviously on an alien world, it's Crimson Strait because of the Red Sea, the literally Red Sea, that's dotted around the location. You'll see it there, you see the water there as I'm running around. It's a nice effect, although very little of the combat ever takes place in the water. So this is just mainly a clean-up operation now, just finishing off these last two targets. I even get so bold as to go after a Mad Cat. Even in its weakened state, you still have to be careful. Not to discount the Mad Cat, but yeah, Commando's gonna do some damage. So yeah, that wraps up the 25 ton category. Next up will be the 30 ton category. Only one mech in that location for the Innisphere, and that's the Venerable Spider love-hate relationship for many players with that mech. Honestly can't remember what build I have for that one, so yeah, stay tuned for that one, because even I'll be interested to see what I'm going to be running on that little thing. Once again, if you like it, comment, rate, subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching once again. Have a good week, everyone.